Ever wonder what happened after the great ancient empires were built? After the last stone was laid on the pyramids and the grand temples stood tall, humanity, having conquered the world around them, started a new kind of exploration, not across lands or seas, but into the vast uncharted territory of the human mind. The very same hands that built monumental cities now picked up styluses and brushes, not just to record history, but to question it, to dream beyond it. This was the dawn of a new era. Imagine the bustling trade routes of the ancient world. Caravans snaking through endless deserts, ships sailing across turquoise oceans. We often think of them carrying spices, silks, and precious metals. But they carried something far more valuable, something invisible and weightless: ideas. As a merchant from Persia haggled in an Egyptian market, he didn't just trade goods, he traded stories, beliefs, and questions. A new mathematical concept from Babylon could find its way to a scholar in Athens. A philosophical puzzle from India could spark a debate in a Roman forum. Knowledge was the most precious cargo, spreading like wildfire across continents. This period sparked a quiet revolution. It wasn't a war fought with swords and shields, but a battle of wits and wisdom. In the sun-drenched agora of Greece, brilliant minds like Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle gathered. They weren't kings or generals, they were thinkers. They asked questions that had never been asked before. What is justice? What is reality? How should we live a good life? Their words, debated in open squares and written on scrolls, laid the very foundation of Western thought. They taught us not what to think, but how to think. A lesson that echoes through the millennia to this very day. And this intellectual awakening wasn't confined to Greece. Far to the east, in the cradles of civilization in China and India, other great minds were grappling with the same profound questions. Confucius was developing a system of ethics and governance that would shape Chinese society for thousands of years, emphasizing harmony, respect, and order. In India, thinkers were delving deep into the nature of consciousness in the universe, giving birth to philosophies and religions that would spread across Asia and beyond. It was as if the entire world had woken up at once, each culture contributing its unique voice to a global chorus of inquiry. These weren't just abstract thoughts for the elite. These new ideas had real-world consequences. The principles of geometry helped architects design more magnificent and stable structures. Advances in astronomy allowed for more accurate calendars, crucial for farming and religious festivals. The development of legal codes based on principles of fairness and reason transformed how societies were governed. Civilization had mastered the art of building. Now, it was learning the art of understanding. It was a pivotal moment where humanity turned its gaze from the external world to the internal one, seeking to map the cosmos, not just in the stars above, but within the soul itself. This incredible journey of thought, from building empires to building philosophies, shaped the world we live in. The questions they asked are still the questions we ask today. The quest for knowledge, for meaning, for a better way to live together. It all began in this remarkable age of intellectual discovery. Have you ever wondered when humans stopped just surviving and started understanding? When we looked up at the stars and saw not just twinkling lights, but a cosmic puzzle waiting to be solved? It wasn't with the clash of swords or the building of great walls. It was quieter, deeper. It happened in the mind. This is the story of the Great Awakening, the dawn of philosophy and science, and how a simple question, why, changed the world forever. For millennia, humanity lived at the mercy of nature. The changing seasons, the cycles of life and death, the distant stars, these were the domains of gods, spirits, and untouchable fates. But around the 6th century BCE, something extraordinary began to stir. In different corners of the globe, a new kind of human emerged, the thinker. Our journey begins in the sun-drenched cities of ancient Greece, a civilization buzzing with trade, politics, and a revolutionary new spirit of inquiry. Here, for the first time, people weren't just accepting the world as it was presented by myth and tradition. They were questioning it. In the bustling agora of Athens, a man named Socrates walked among the crowds, not giving answers, but asking questions. He challenged everyone, statesmen, poets, artisans, to define what they thought they knew. What is justice? What is virtue? What is knowledge? His relentless questioning, known as the Socratic method, was a radical idea. It suggested that wisdom wasn't handed down from the heavens. It was something we could uncover within ourselves, through reason and debate. Socrates paid the ultimate price for his intellectual rebellion, but his legacy ignited a fire. One of his most brilliant students, Plato, took that fire and built a world with it. Plato looked around at the imperfect, ever-changing world and asked, "Is this all there is?" He imagined a higher reality, a realm of perfect forms, where the true essence of things like beauty, justice, and even a simple circle existed eternally. Our world, he argued, was just a shadow of that perfect reality. His academy in Athens wasn't just a school. It was the first institution of higher learning in the Western world, a place dedicated to the pursuit of knowledge for its own sake. Plato's ideas about reality, ethics, and the ideal state would echo through the corridors of Western thought for over 2,000 years. And then came Plato's own student, Aristotle. If Plato looked up to the heavens for truth, Aristotle looked down to the earth. He was a born observer, a collector of facts, a classifier of life. He walked through nature and saw not chaos, but order. He studied plants, animals, and the stars, believing that by observing the world around us, we could understand the principles that governed it. He developed formal logic, a system for clear reasoning that became the bedrock of all scientific inquiry. From biology and physics to ethics and politics, Aristotle's work was a breathtaking attempt to systematize all human knowledge. He was, in many ways, the world's first true scientist. These three men, Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, created the very foundation of Western philosophy and science. They taught us how to question, how to reason, and how to observe. But this intellectual awakening wasn't confined to Greece. Thousands of miles away, across the vast lands of Asia, another great philosophical tradition was taking root. In China, a period of political turmoil known as the Warring States period gave rise to the 100 schools of thought. It was an era of profound crisis, but also of incredible creativity. Out of this chaos emerged a figure whose ideas would shape Chinese civilization more than any emperor, Confucius. Confucius wasn't interested in abstract worlds or cosmic mysteries. He was concerned with the here and now. How do we live a good life? How do we create a harmonious society? His answer was rooted in ethics, relationships, and respect. He taught the importance of filial piety, of loyalty, of treating others as you would want to be treated, the golden rule. For Confucius, order in the state began with order in the family, and order in the family began with cultivating one's own moral character. His teachings, collected in the Analects, became the ethical and political backbone of China for millennia, influencing everything from government and education to everyday family life. At the same time, another voice offered a very different path. Laozi, the mysterious figure credited with writing the Tao Te Ching, turned away from the structures of society and looked toward the effortless flow of nature. He spoke of the Tao, the way, an indefinable natural force that governs the universe. While Confucius sought to build a better society through rules and rituals, Laozi advised us to step back, to embrace simplicity, and to act in harmony with the natural world. This philosophy, known as Taoism, offered a powerful counterpoint to Confucianism, a call to find wisdom not in striving, but in stillness, not in control, but in letting go. Traveling further west, we arrive in the Indian subcontinent, a land of deep spiritual exploration. Here, thinkers weren't just asking why, they were asking who am I? Sages and mystics, known as rishis, delved into the nature of consciousness itself. Through meditation and introspection, they explored the inner cosmos, developing profound concepts like karma, the law of cause and effect, and samsara, the cycle of rebirth. Philosophies like Hinduism and Buddhism emerged from this soil, offering intricate maps of the mind and the universe. But it wasn't all spiritual. Ancient Indian scholars also made astounding advances in mathematics. They developed the concept of zero, a revolutionary idea that would be essential for all future mathematics and computing. They created the decimal system we use every day and made incredible strides in astronomy, calculating the length of the year with remarkable accuracy. They proved that the quest for understanding could look both inward, to the soul, and outward, to the stars. Meanwhile, a crucial link was being forged in the Middle East. As empires rose and fell, cities like Alexandria and Baghdad became vibrant centers of learning. Here, Scholars from different cultures, Greek, Persian, Indian, came together. They didn't just preserve the ancient knowledge, they built upon it. They translated the works of Plato and Aristotle into Arabic, saving them from being lost to history. They studied Indian mathematics and introduced the concept of zero and the decimal system to the West. They developed algebra, a powerful new tool for calculation. Their astronomers meticulously mapped the heavens, refining the models of the Greeks and laying the groundwork for Copernicus and Galileo. The House of Wisdom in Baghdad was a beacon of knowledge, a testament to the power of collaboration and intellectual curiosity. For the first time in history, ideas were traveling faster and further than armies. Knowledge was no longer locked away in isolated pockets of civilization. It moved along trade routes like the Silk Road, carried in scrolls in the minds of traveling scholars. Greek philosophy met Indian mathematics in Persian libraries. Chinese inventions made their way to Europe. A global conversation had begun. This was the turning point. Humanity was building a shared library of knowledge, brick by brick, idea by idea. The lonely questions asked by a few brave thinkers were now being debated across continents. The shift was monumental. We were moving from a world explained by myths to a world that could be investigated through reason. Imagination was formalized into philosophy. Philosophy provided the tools for science, and science became the key that would unlock the mysteries of the universe and shape the future of our species. The journey from why to how had begun, and it would lead us to places those ancient thinkers could have only dreamed of. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey back in time. If you found this as fascinating as I do, please hit that like button and subscribe for more stories about the ideas that shaped our world. Let me know in the comments which ancient thinker inspires you the most. See you in the next video.